So I have a firm belief that in 2023, the NFC South is not a very good division. But I will say this, just because it's a bad division, that does not mean the division won't be competitive. I believe these teams are going to beat up on each other and just compete for who's going to get that final playoff spot in the NFC because like for example, this is the worst division in that conference, you know. And I will say, like I said, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Buccaneers, the Saints, all of these teams should be coming into the season thinking we're talented enough to win this division because I think that you can make the argument for all four teams. However, I will say this. There's been a lot of people that have been hyping up the New Orleans Saints in 2023. A lot of people have been saying, man, look at the Saints. They're going to run away with this division. The Saints can win the NFC, bruh. I've heard some people say that. And to me, it's been mind-boggling. I don't understand the hype surrounding the New Orleans Saints as currently constructed with Dennis Allen being your head coach and Derek Carr being your quarterback. The New Orleans Saints will not sniff a Super Bowl appearance. They're not even close to being a Super Bowl contender. Not even close. They're not. I will not even be shocked if the Saints miss the playoffs this season. And really, the Saints, they have not been the same since Drew Brees retired. And that's understandable because Drew Brees is a top 10 quarterback of all time. You know, one of the great people in the NFL and one of the all-time great passers, you know, and sometimes it takes a while for a franchise to reboot. But Saints fans, I have to ask you this. What is so special about Dennis Allen? Like, what makes this guy so special? In 53 games coached in the NFL, Dennis Allen has won only 28% of his games. And you can't make excuses because I've seen Kyle Shanahan win games with backup quarterbacks at times. Mike Tomlin was above 500, around 500 with backup quarterbacks at times. Never had a losing season. Mike Vrabel found a way to have a winning record with Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, and a bunch of, quarterbacks this past year. So you can't tell me that, I got to give Dennis Allen a pass because he hasn't had the pieces around him. Listen, if you're a great head coach, you're going to win more than 28% of your games in a 50-plus game sample size. It doesn't work that way. You mean to tell me a great coach is winning 28% of his games in a 50-plus game sample size? That does not work. And Derek Carr, the ultimate piece to this puzzle. There's a reason the Raiders moved on from Derek Carr. There's a reason. He's been banged up in the past. Ever since his 2016 season, he has not been the same player. There's been some great moments, but we all know there's a ceiling with Derek Carr. He makes some very questionable, terrible decisions at times with the football. It's a very reckless and frustrating style of play that he plays and leans into. And sometimes when Derek Carr is getting hit, he doesn't like to throw the football down the field. He's not been the same since he got injured in 2016. Not to mention, Alvin Kamara is on the decline. He's not the same running back that he was a couple of years ago, where he could essentially carry the entire workload of an offense. He's not that guy anymore. Michael Thomas can never stay healthy. The offensive line, it's a makeshift offensive line. I have a lot of questions about this offensive line. It's not the same as it was several years ago in New Orleans, where they were arguably maybe the best team up front. The defense is good, but it's not an elite unit. I can name about 5 to 7 defenses I would definitely rather have than the Saints defense right now today, probably even more. And again, even if this team wins their division by default, like I said, this team is not going to compete for a Super Bowl. I do not see it with the New Orleans Saints. I think that they're lacking stability at quarterback. They have not gotten it right since Drew Brees has retired. This roster is not very good. This coaching staff is not very good. And the New Orleans Saints, at some point, they will need to look themselves in the mirror and they will need to start to hit the reset button and the rebuilding button because they have spent their money very, very aggressively. And at some point, your credit card will come due pay at some point in New Orleans. So again, that's how I feel. But, who knows? Anything can happen.